For my birthday, my parents sent me a gift box. My husband looked at it and said, "Don't open it." I asked, "Why?" "Can't you see it?" I looked closer and froze. I didn't open it. I did something else instead. 30 minutes later, police were at the door. I'm not a big birthday person. I don't throw parties. I don't post dramatic selfies with 34 and thriving. Honestly, I usually forget it's even my birthday until Jason, my husband, buys me a chocolate bar and makes some dumb joke about being married to a mature woman. That's enough celebration for me. So when my phone rang the day before and it was my mom, syrupy sweet like someone had pumped sugar into her veins, I already knew something was off. "Oh, sweetheart, we sent you a little surprise. It should arrive right on time." On time. My parents were never on time unless it was for Ellie, but I played along. "Okay, thanks." She giggled. My mom never giggles. "It's nothing big," she said. "Just a token of our love." That's when I should have known, not because of what she said, but because she said love and didn't immediately follow it with a backhanded comment about me being too sensitive. But you want to believe? Even after 34 years of crumbs, a stupid part of you still hopes maybe they're trying. They weren't. The morning comes, Jason makes me pancakes and lets me drink coffee in bed. It's peaceful, comfortable, normal until the doorbell rings. A plain brown cardboard box sits on the mat. No ribbon, no tag, no glittery balloon. Just a box. Jason brings it in, sets it down, stares at it like it micro legs. "That's from my parents," I say. He doesn't respond. "Mom called yesterday. Said they were sending me a gift." Still silence. "Then don't open it," he finally says. I laugh. "What? You think it's cursed?" He doesn't laugh. He just nods at the label. So I look, really look. Printed, sterile, APO box return address. Not their street, not even their city. My chest goes cold. Jason taps the box. "There. Do you see it?" I lean in. My heart skips. Then stumbles. Everything in me goes still. It's not fear yet, but dread. My phone rings. Mom again. Jason looks at me. I answer, put it on speaker. "Sweetie, did it arrive?" "Yeah," I say. "It came? Did you open it?" I look at the box. "Yeah," I lie. "I opened it. It's beautiful. Thank you. Oh, sweetheart. We just wanted to remind you how much we love you. You're our girl. Don't ever forget that." My stomach drops. She has never said that. Not when I graduated, not when I got married. Not even when I lost a pregnancy and cried on her couch. Jason watches me. I shake my head. Mom's voice is syrupy. "We just thought you deserved something nice. You're so strong. You always have been." Then she hangs up. I stare at the box. I hate how nice she was. Jason nods. "She only calls you sweetie when she's lying." Exactly. They never send gifts. They once gave Ellie a Peloton and me a used gas station candle. I wanted to throw the box out the window or burn it. Instead, I sat. Jason made tea. The box sat there like it was watching us. 30 minutes later, a knock. A uniformed officer stands at the door. "Are you Rousseau? We've received a report about a package delivered to this address. Can we come in?" Jason appears behind me. I let them in. The box sits on the counter unopened. "That's the one," I say. They examine it with gloves, cutters, protocol. They slice it open. Inside, bubble wrap, figurines, certificates, a shipping slip with my name. One officer scans a code, then looks at his partner. "Do you know what these are?" "They look like art," I say. "Do you know where they came from?" "My parents sent them a birthday gift." Proof. I play my recording. Mom's voice dripping honey saying, "Did you get our gift?" "We love you." The officer nods. "We're taking this with us. You're not being charged at this time, but this shipment matches materials in an active investigation." They box it back up like it's radioactive, thank me, and leave. Jason follows them out. I sit at the table. My coffee is still warm. 3 hours later, the phone rings. My mother's voice is no longer sweet. "How could you? You told them it was Ellie's." I told them who sent it. "You did. You could have stayed quiet." If they found it at your place, it ends there. Quiet, contained. My father's voice, calm and cruel. We thought they'd seize it and move on. We didn't think it'd trace back this far. But you thought it'd trace to me. Riso, you're stronger. You've always been stronger. Ellie isn't built for this, and I am. You don't have kids. You'd bounce back. That was the reason. That was always the reason. Mom snaps. You've always been the cold one. And now look what you've done. I hang up. Jason returns with tea. He sets it in front of me without asking. The box is gone, but the scar of it remains. They really thought I'd open it, I whisper. They really did, he says. A week after the police carried the box away, the detective called me again. I was halfway through a bowl of cereal. Jason had just left for work. The sun made the kitchen feel almost normal. Then my phone buzzed with an unknown number. Of course. Ro, do you have a few minutes? The detective asked. For what? Why not ruin breakfast? I muttered. We need to confirm something. Your name appears on multiple documents related to your sister's business. Have you ever registered a business under your name? No. Have you ever listed yourself as co-owner or manager for any company tied to art sales or supply chains? I laughed. The closest I've come to a business was selling a bookshelf on Facebook Marketplace. That's it. He didn't laugh. There's a digital signature with your name attached to a suspended account. Let me guess, I said. Some ridiculous email. He read it out. I almost laughed again. That's not me. Want me to prove it? He sent me the file. It took seconds to confirm it was forged. My name, sure, but the handwriting looked like someone glanced at my signature once and tried to copy it. That yours? He asked. No, recognized the email. Not even close. Could your sister or parents have had access to your old documents? I hesitated. Years ago. Tax stuff ID copies. Back when I still trusted them. I hated how natural that past tense felt. He explained what they had uncovered. A business license under my name. My old address listed as the official return center. Supplier contracts pointing back to Ellie's laptop. Payment trails to accounts with my forged signature. You've technically been listed as a silent partner for over a year, he said. My mouth went dry. I wanted to be sarcastic, clever, but all I said was, of course, I have. He asked me to provide a statement denying involvement. I agreed, typed it up, attached a copy of my real signature for comparison. He thanked me and hung up. That was it. No promises of justice, no next steps, just silence. It felt both terrifying and honest. After that, weeks passed in buffering mode. No calls, no drama, just me and Jason and the quiet hum of waiting. I figured either everything was moving behind the scenes or nothing was, and both options scared me. Then suddenly, it all hit at once. Ellie was charged with wire fraud, identity theft, business fraud, import-export violations. And in my head, being the world's neediest sibling. She pled out. 2 years probation, a fine that could buy a new car. Banned from having a business license until she was almost middle-aged. My parents. Charged with conspiracy, aiding and abetting. They pled guilty, too. Suspended sentence, community service, fines. Their names now public record. No more pretending they were naive. I didn't attend the hearings. I didn't need to watch Ellie crying in beige cardigans or my mother gripping her hand like she was the victim. But I read the transcript. My name was mentioned 12 times. Not once did they apologize. Then, because apparently life wasn't finished twisting the knife, my parents asked to meet me. No Ellie, this time. Just them. A peace talk. They chose a cafe near the courthouse. I showed up 10 minutes late and ordered the most expensive pastry I could find just to make a point. They were already sitting looking brittle. My mother tried to arrange her face into the expression she thought would make me feel guilty. I didn't sit right away. We didn't know she used your name, she began. You didn't ask either, I said. She said it was just for shipping. Yeah, because that's how fraud works. My father cleared his throat, his favorite tactic when reason ran out. We thought it was temporary. She said you wouldn't mind. She also said I'd open the package. Turns out she says a lot of things. We didn't think it would go this far, my mother whispered. You mean you didn't think you'd get caught? They went silent. Then my mom struck where she thought she'd win. You've always been stronger, Russo. You don't have kids. No one relies on you. We thought you'd recover faster. There it was. Their justification polished, practiced. You offered me up, I said flatly, because you decided my life was easier to lose. That's not what we meant. It's exactly what you meant. I wasn't even angry anymore. Just tired, done. I stood up. My coffee sat half full, untouched. Enjoy your community service, I said. Maybe you'll finally learn what real work looks like. That night, I blocked them everywhere. Deleted contacts, backups, emergency numbers gone. Not out of spite, but survival. They didn't get access to me anymore. Not even to the version of me they'd invented. The next morning, Jason brought me coffee. We sat in the quiet sunlight. He asked, "You okay?" I sipped. Let the warmth settle. I'm done. He didn't ask with what. He didn't need to dot after cutting them off. I thought things would calm down. But silence has a way of echoing. Weeks turned into months, and every time my phone buzzed with an unknown number, my stomach flipped. But nothing came. No desperate apologies, no threats, no sudden visits. It was as if they'd vanished. Jason noticed the change in me. "You don't flinch anymore," he said one morning as we were making breakfast. I realized he was right. My body wasn't on edge the way it used to be. I could breathe deeper, laugh easier. For a while, I let myself believe that maybe this was it, the final chapter. But trauma has a way of hanging around, sneaking into corners you thought you'd cleaned out. I'd wake up some nights sweating, convinced the doorbell was ringing. Convinced someone was standing outside with another box. Jason would hold me until the fear passed. "You're safe," he'd remind me. And I was technically safe, but scarred. One Friday evening, while cleaning out an old box of papers, I found a folder I hadn't seen in years. Inside were copies of documents my parents had once asked me to send for family records, birth certificates, social security, old IDs. I stared at them for a long time. These were the tools Ellie had used to drag me into her schemes. I felt sick, but I also felt strangely powerful. I shredded them one by one, feeding them into the machine until nothing recognizable remained. It was symbolic, maybe, but it mattered. I was done being anyone's pawn. Around the same time, my job offered me a chance to lead a project in another city. Jason encouraged me to consider it. "Fresh start," he said. "No ghosts following you there." The idea tempted me. I imagined walking down streets where no one knew me as the sister who almost went down for fraud. I imagined silence that wasn't heavy but clean. So I said yes. We packed, moved, and left behind the neighborhood where every corner carried shadows of betrayal. The new city welcomed us quietly. Our apartment had wide windows and the air felt lighter. I walked through farmers markets without scanning faces, explored coffee shops without my chest tightening. Life became simple, almost ordinary, and I clung to that ordinariness like it was gold. But healing isn't linear. One afternoon, my mother sent a letter. No return address, just my name scrawled across the envelope. Jason handed it to me carefully. "You don't have to open it." I hesitated, then tore it open. Inside, 3 pages of her handwriting. Apologies laced with excuses. Love tangled with guilt, a plea for me to understand that they only wanted to protect Ellie. I read it once, folded it, and burned it in the sink. Jason watched in silence. When the last corner turned to ash, I whispered, "She doesn't get to rewrite what happened." That night, I slept peacefully. Slowly, I started building a new version of family. Not blood, but choice. Friends from work, neighbors who stopped by with cookies, Jason's cousins who welcomed me without conditions. It was messy and imperfect, but it was real. They cared without contracts, trusted without leverage. For the first time, I felt what family should have been all along. Months later, I received a call from the detective again. He just wanted to let me know Ellie had completed her probation. My parents had finished their community service, and the case was officially closed. They won't bother you again, he said. I thanked him, hung up, and sat quietly for a long time. Closed. The word rang in my ears. It didn't erase the past, but it gave me permission to stop carrying it. One weekend, Jason and I drove out to the coast. The sky stretched wide, the ocean roared, and I stood at the edge of the waves, letting the water wash over my feet. I thought of everything Lee's smile when she handed me that box. My parents' voices twisting loyalty into debt. The police at my door. I thought of the girl I used to be, the one who trusted too easily, who wanted so badly to belong. I whispered to her, "We made it out." And I meant it. Jason slipped his hand into mine. We didn't need to say anything. The ocean drowned out the rest. That night, lying in bed with the window cracked open to the sound of waves, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace, not the fragile kind that can be shattered with a phone call, but the kind that lives inside you, steady and unshakable. I closed my eyes and held on to it. For once, the story wasn't about betrayal anymore. It was about survival, resilience. And finally dash freedom. Life in the new city became a rhythm I didn't realize I craved. Mornings started with sunlight spilling through wide windows, Jason brewing coffee, and the faint hum of traffic outside. There were no reminders of what I'd escaped, no ghosts waiting around corners. Work gave me purpose again. I led my project team with confidence I thought I'd lost. My colleagues respected me for my skills, not for the chaos that had once surrounded my family name. Sometimes they'd ask about my past, and I'd smile, deflect, and keep the truth tucked away. It wasn't shame anymore, it was protection. Some stories don't need to be told to everyone. The weekends became ours. Jason and I explored hidden trails, bookstores, late-night diners with sticky menus. Each small discovery felt like a reclaiming of something stolen. I began journaling again, not about betrayal, but about possibility. Pages filled with dreams, travel plans, even recipes I wanted to try. It was ordinary, but to me, ordinary had become extraordinary. Yet healing has a strange way of testing you. One afternoon, as I was walking home from work, saw someone who looked like Ellie. Just a flash of her face in a passing crowd, but it froze me in place. My heart pounded, palms sweating, until I realized it wasn't her. Just a stranger with similar hair. Still, the fear lingered long after. That night, Jason found me staring out the window, tense. "She's not here," he said gently. I know, but sometimes it feels like she is. He wrapped his arms around me, and I let myself believe him. Little by little, those moments of panic grew weaker. The more distance I put between myself and the past, the more I understood it wasn't chasing me anymore. It only lived where I allowed it to. A year passed. Seasons changed, leaves fell, flowers bloomed again. My life rebuilt itself, not through grand gestures, but through steady choices. Choosing honesty, choosing boundaries, choosing joy. Jason and I celebrated anniversaries, birthdays, small victories at work. We weren't perfect, but we were free. One night, we hosted a small dinner with friends. Laughter filled the apartment. Glasses clinked, candles flickered. And in the middle of it all, I felt a sudden swell of gratitude. This was family. Not defined by blood, not bound by obligation, but chosen, nurtured, real. After everyone left, Jason asked what I was smiling about. "I think I finally understand," I said. "Understand what? That family isn't about who you're born to. It's about who shows up, who stays, who never asks you to sacrifice yourself for their mistakes." He kissed my forehead. "Then we've got the right one." The days blurred into a softer, brighter kind of living. But there was one last chapter waiting. Out of nowhere, Ellie sent a message. Not through my phone, she knew she was blocked, but through an email link to an old account I rarely used. The subject line was simple. "I'm sorry." My first instinct was to delete it unopened. But curiosity won for once. The message was short. She admitted guilt, admitted dragging me into something I never deserved, admitted she'd ruined more than she realized. She said probation had forced her to confront herself. She didn't ask for forgiveness, just said she hoped I was happy. I stared at the words for a long time. It didn't undo the years of damage, didn't erase the danger, didn't make her actions excusable. But it was the first honest thing she'd ever given me. I closed the laptop, told Jason, and together we decided not to reply. Some things don't need responses. Silence can be its own answer. That night, I dreamt of the box again. But this time when I looked at it, it was empty. No wires, no lies, no traps. Just a hollow space. I woke up lighter. That was the ending I needed. Not her apology, not their downfall, but my own release. Months later, Jason and I stood at the edge of a mountain trail, looking out at a sunset that turned the sky into fire. I thought of everything I'd been through, every choice that had carried me here. And I realized something profound. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living. And for the first time, the story wasn't about what had been taken from me. It was about what I had built in its place.